So welcome everyone, this is Georgie.
Hey.
She has decided to join us today. She is a counsellor who lives in Bondi Junction and is doing some incredible work with some people who need any kind of support, therapy-wise, mental health-wise, counselling-wise. You do an absolutely incredible job.
Thank you, that's very
But you're
kind.
relatively new.
I wasn't
new in the game.
Yeah, I know I am quite new. It's been about 2 months now since I actually just started, like the day I registered my business. But it's been going quickly. I feel like it's building slowly. A lot of hustling and sales work involved, but it's growing.
Marketing. I feel like every time I talk to you, you're like, oh, loads more clients, which is a good thing to have.
Yeah.
When we first started talking, you're like, yeah, I'm just really trying to get more people, and now you're like trying to manage it all. It's like,
I almost think I'm a bit addicted to getting new clients because I used to be in sales, so there's such a big part of generating new business, and it's like the same concept except you're trying to find new people that you can help. So, and it's always just so interesting getting new clients because you learn about someone completely new, like what their situation is, what they want help with. It's so fascinating to me.
Yeah, doing God's work.
Trying to. I mean, not always.
Not always.
Well, trying.
You tended some clients just be like, yeah, you robbed that store.
No, I've never told anyone to rob anything.
Strictly abide by the law. Fair.
But yes, thank you for that kind introduction. I'm new. I finished my studies. I did a diploma of counselling. It was really interesting. Quit my corporate job last November, and then ever since I was just studying full time. I wasn't working because I just wanted to get the study done as quickly as possible. And then literally the day I finished my study, I was like, okay, it's time to start my business. So finished the study, applied for an ABN, and then poof, I'll build a website as well.
You build a website, yeah.
Start an Instagram page. Don't love the whole, it's not that I don't love the Instagram side of things, I just don't like how having this business and this page, it makes me spend so much more time on it. I think that's probably something I don't like, but it's a time management thing. I'm working on it.
Would you say like you have a love-hate relationship with social media?
I don't even know if I go as far as that.
No, it's a tool.
Maybe a like-hate.
Yeah.
A like-hate one. No, I think it's, as I say, I think it's a really useful tool, and it can be really helpful to learn new things, and I see inspirational quotes or whatever, love those, and I do see some really good stuff. I also love seeing my friends' content when they're overseas, and it is a really good way to stay in touch with people, but at the same time I hate when I spend too much time just scrolling aimlessly on it. Like that actually really frustrates me. It puts me in a bad mood.
Do you find it's like draining?
Oh my god, it's so many things. It's like draining, it's demotivating. It just makes me feel really flat if I spend too much time on it, because I guess I'm looking at everyone's highlights. I'm thinking, oh, my life's not good enough. Even though I'm really happy with how things are going right now. But like regardless of that, it will just always make me feel flatter and like lower. Not good.
No, it's not the best. But at the same time, it's like, I feel like it's too hard to one coin in there, because it's, in some respects, I assume you probably have got some clients from there.
Yeah.
So
no, exactly.
Like, and that's why it's so difficult, because it's like, part of me would just love to be able to delete all the bad bits about it. Do you know what I mean?
I think it just becomes it's so complicated, because as you said, like I can get clients through there. Like it's a great way to communicate some of my messages. It's how we share these videos. But then there's that side which is where it's fake, it's promoting unhealthy things. There's always that comparison you're doing, and I think there's always that sense when you're on social media that you're not doing enough. When it's a Friday night or something, or a Saturday night when you should be out, but a lot of people go out, and you're at home having a chill night, and then you go on social media, you see everyone else out. It just makes you feel bad about yourself.
I feel that.
Do you feel that?
I feel that. Yeah, and it's like, part of me is like, because you want to be there as well. But I don't look at like the going out, because I'm like, if I'm tucked in at like 8 and I see people going out, I'm like, I would not want to be there. For me, it's like when I see people like running down the beach. No, it's just running. I'm like, I want to be there. No,
you see people running and you weren't invited. It's like that really hurts.
Yeah. my good friend who's runs with his partner now instead of me. It's like that really is a dagger in my heart.
Oh,
No, it's
sorry to hear that.
No, don't make me. Right, okay. Let's not make me seem like. Okay, I'm a charity case. No, for me it's like, you know when people are like at the beach and it's like they're always training. That's my thought. When I see people there, I'm like, oh, I should be doing more. I'm like, I should be training more often.
Is this in social media or in real life?
Yeah, in social media. I'm like.
What do you mean training at the beach?
Well, like you see people like who
Running.
go down for the morning dip. We'll go for
yeah.
a run, like swim after, and then they'll go to the gym, and then they'll do stuff like after work. And I'm like, Christ, I'm only working out like once, max twice, and these people are like doing 3 in a day, and I'm like, how do they have this much time?
Well, usually it's probably their career, right?
Yeah. I hope so, because I'm like, how are you meant to keep up? That's crazy.
I guess you can just do all you can. But
Do
the
what
fact
you can.
you're even doing anything, and that, I think that's another thing about social media. It makes us have like an all or nothing mentality. You should just be proud of yourself that you're doing
you should be proud.
one thing a day.
Yeah.
And also you need to do rest days. I do a lot of rest days.
Rest days. Do you think like, does it affect how you sleep as well? Like, do you end up using it late at night? 'Cause I feel like I'm really sensitive. Like, if I'm on my phone past 8:30, it's like my body goes, perfect, we're awake now. I'm not gonna let you sleep. Like,
It definitely does activate an energy in me where I'm like, okay, I'm much more alert now. I think reading is a huge thing I try to do, which will help me to sleep instead of like scrolling.
I'm gonna put you on the spot. What are you reading?
Oh my god, what's it called? I'm terrible with names of books. It's the one by Leanne Moriarty, and it's based on a plane, and a sidekick is telling people when and where they're gonna die.
That is pretty crazy.
Oh my god, what's it called?
Is it a good read?
It's called like One Trip or like. Okay, this really has upset me because I can't remember.
I feel bad. I always feel bad putting people on the spot.
It's
like,
called.
books.
It's by Leanne Moriarty, and
Okay.
anyone would, people would know this book.
Yeah.
It's a popular book.
It's probably a book. Unreal. Like, so you prefer like reading instead of like going on your phone, but you like sensitive to it?
A bit. I don't think, I know I used to be a lot more. Like, I almost feel like my sensitivity has declined because I go on it so much, which is bad. But no, going on your phone at bedtime, whether it be like before bed or first thing in the morning, it's just like you really shouldn't do it. But it's the most common time when people go on it. So you could tell someone 100 times like, don't do it. It's not good for you. They're still gonna do it. So you just have to pick your own life, I guess.
Yeah. Do you think like sleeping less affects like your mental health as well?
Oh my god, definitely. Like, sleep is such a huge factor in mental health.
Yeah.
But the issue is it almost like contradicts itself, because like the harder you try to fall asleep sometimes, and the more you're thinking about the fact that it's going to impact your mental health, like the less likely you are that you're going to sleep.
Yeah.
Because you're getting yourself so worked up about it. I know personally, if I'm tired, I feel so much more anxious. It unlocks some crazy anxiety in me where I'm like, even just my eyes, they feel really like, ooh.
Yeah.
So sleep, honestly, my best advice for sleep would be just try not to think about it too hard.
Awesome.
No, but seriously, it's like the more pressure.
Do you count sheep?
No.
You don't count
The counting sheep never works for me.
Do you like, are you a sort of, if you can't sleep, do you get up?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that's like a big thing I've been recommended, because I used to have insomnia where I really struggled to sleep all the time.
Really? So
In high school, when I was doing exams, I remember before my high school certificate, I was getting like 3 hours of sleep before an exam.
Okay, that's pretty rough.
Oh my god, because I had all the information I was studying in my head, and I couldn't just like shut it off and fall asleep.
Yeah. So what have you like done since then to like improve how you sleep? Other than, I feel like not try.
I'm really big into sleep hygiene.
Okay.
Have you heard of sleep hygiene?
Not in that framework. Go on. What's your? Is that like sleep routines?
It's just like where you sleeping. That's it. Like don't eat in your bed. Don't spend a lot of time like on a Saturday or a Sunday when you're not working, for example. Don't spend all your time in your bed, because then your brain associates doing different things in your bed besides sleeping. So it's like I would be so strict about, okay, I only want to get into bed when I'm feeling really tired.
Yeah.
I don't want to be in bed from like 7 p.m. and fall asleep at 10. I get into bed at like 9:45, read for a bit, and then try to fall asleep.
Yeah. Do you stick to like the same, like go to bed at the same time, wake up at the same time, or do you kind of like, because
I think I do, yeah. I think obviously it's a bit more tricky because when I was working a corporate role, my schedule was always the same. Like it's like you start at 8:30 and you finish at 5:30, and like so you need to get up every morning at 6:30. Whereas now it's like my first session might be at 11, and then I have another session at 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Like it's such a different schedule. So, but no, I think having your routine with sleep is really beneficial. Do you have a routine with sleep?
Yeah, I'd say I'm pretty good now. I'm kind of getting better and actually implementing different things. Like I leave my phone upstairs a lot more.
That's
as a
good.
big one. So
Like separate room.
Yeah, and not, especially like during work, because if I'm at my desk, if I have my phone there, especially when like if you got a message like potential clients or you're messaging people, it then becomes you kind of message and scroll, and then I'm like, I'm meant to be working here. So it's like drawing the line. So I'm like, if I get in, leave my phone upstairs, come downstairs, and then like set up for work, it's the same as like when I go to sleep. I'm like, okay, I'll then set my alarms and then come downstairs. I might do some like stretching down here, or like just like chat or read or something before I then go up to bed. And then I know in my head, I'm like, oh, my alarms are set, I'm all good. So if I'm actually tired, I don't like look at like blue light or anything past that certain point. But it's kind of, I definitely say it's getting better.
You're sleeping. Did you used to be a bad sleeper?
I wouldn't say a bad sleeper, but I feel like my body's really sensitive. So if I like went on my phone at like 9:20, my body would go, okay, we're awake now. Even if I'm like super, super tired, it would take me till like 10, half 10 to actually get to sleep.
Yeah.
And it's just that I'd be frustrated because I'm like, because I looked at my phone that once, I'm now like laying here for an extra hour when I'm like, I could be peacefully asleep.
Yeah, it's probably like very in your head as well.
It is so in my head, which is why I'm like, okay, so if I stick to a nice little routine, it's better. But also like I'm up at 5 every day because of work. So I need to have a boundary of like, okay, I need to be off my phone by like
for sure
8:30, an alarm set by 9, because otherwise I'm just going to be tired.
Yeah, otherwise you're running off too little sleep.
Yeah, and especially with like training so much, where I might be training like twice in a day. I'm like, I need to sleep to recover.
That's
otherwise,
a lot of training.
It is a lot of training.
Is it just running?
Running in gym. So like, so like the other day I went to the gym for an hour and a half, and then came back, got changed, and then went for like an hour run. So
go you.
It is good, but it is intense. Like sometimes it can be a lot though. Like the other day I got home from both my trainings and started eating dinner at like 7:30, and I'm like, I've got an hour before.
You don't have that much like wind down time.
But I'm kind of, no offense, but glad I haven't had to deal with insomnia, because that doesn't sound fun
No,
at all.
yeah, it's a tough thing to struggle with sleeping. Like I can definitely say that you just get so bored. Like you're just lying there and you think, why can I not fall asleep right now?
Yeah.
But yeah, my best advice would be, say you're in bed for half an hour, you've tried to sleep, you still can't like get up and distract your brain and do something else. Go read a book, or like literally move rooms.
Yeah.
And just get yourself into a relaxed state. Go watch TV, like that's fine. Just distract yourself to get out of your own head.
Yeah.
And like make a tea, just chill out, and then when your body is ready, it'll fall asleep.
Yeah, that makes sense. Do you think that like alcohol plays a factor as well?
Oh yeah, the alcohol definitely impacts sleep. And when you do drink, you don't have as high quality sleep.
Yeah.
And you wake up feeling really tired.
Yeah. Do you think it like has an impact on like your mental health as well? Because I feel like so much of it, I know it's in your head, but I feel like more people I talk to nowadays are much more aware of how drinking affects them. And then I feel like people are more open to talking about it as well. Like from how, I speak to a lot more people now, especially training, especially at run clubs, who like don't drink or like rarely drink, and it's like there's still a strong drinking culture, especially in like where I was near London, especially out here in Sydney.
Yeah.
But people are much more like, oh no, I don't drink, or no, I'm really aware of it because it's like I don't feel great after it.
It's so good that people are becoming like more self-aware about how alcohol makes them feel. And everyone has not everyone, but a lot of people do have complex relationships with alcohol because it is this drug that it's like affects us and makes us feel good, and then the next day can make us feel really like shit and low.
Yeah.
So it's a complex one. I think people just need to know their boundaries with it. And I think another thing with alcohol is just knowing that like anxiety is a normal thing. After like feeling anxiety the next day after being hungover, like it's actually because of the different things that the alcohol affects in your brain. So it's not just this myth. You actually do feel anxious because you have high levels of cortisol after drinking.
Okay. And that affects...
It's a stress hormone.
Okay, so that affects like how you sleep, how you like
everything.
your mood and everything.
Everything. And I mean, it's just tricky, alcohol, because it's very social. It can make people feel isolated if they stop drinking. Like there's so many different moving parts with the whole drinking culture. But I'm a big believer in like, you should just do what's right for you. If drinking really doesn't agree with you, don't do it to yourself. But if you enjoy drinking, that's okay. Like there's no problem with like drinking or not drinking. It's more just accepting yourself for it and not putting pressure on other people to do one way or another.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Like respecting other people's boundaries and like respecting your own boundaries with alcohol.
That makes sense. I feel you. Are you seeing more cases of like people being alone and like loneliness?
It's interesting because obviously people feeling lonely has been increasing, I found, amongst who I'm speaking to, whereas like it seems as though we have all the technology that would enable us to feel more connected to people. Do you know what I mean? Like we have more messaging applications and we have more ability to connect with people all over the world, but the reality is humans aren't really meant to connect like that. Like connection should come from feeling good around someone, feeling safe around someone, feeling comfortable. And I think it is really hard in, I guess, our generation to feel connected to people because everyone's so focused on their own individual lives. It seems like people place less emphasis on sometimes friendships and relationships because they're more just focused on like what they're doing and achieving what they want. So, I mean, also I think a big factor which does impact upon loneliness and isolation is where someone lives. I think there's some individual situations where people have moved to a new country, they don't really know anyone, so that can be extremely isolating.
Yeah, of course.
I'm sure you know about that.
Yeah.
Did you know anyone when you moved to Australia?
No.
No,
I didn't know.
Did you feel a bit lonely when you moved here?
Yeah, it's scary as well because you probably like, especially not drinking as well, it's like, how do you meet people?
You can go out but just drink soda waters.
Yeah, but then you're known as...
No, but you don't need to, you don't need to tell anyone.
Yeah, the lime and soda, but just no vodka.
Yeah.
I think that's the only thing, like having alcohol does sometimes take the edge off of like the pressure of
being nervous
people.
and things.
Yeah, but even it's not even like meeting people of like the opposite sex, even like the same sex, it's like how do you kind of work around that? And that's partly why I do love running, because
it's a great way to meet people.
Yeah, and it's like you can go and be sociable, you can like, it's a morning thing, you can go and see some great sights. Like now when I run with people, I run into some absolutely incredible places like that I could not never have gone to in the UK, but just like incomparable. Like when I'm running along like Bondi, or I've been up to like Watson's Bay, or like down
so
near
nice.
Botany, and you're just like, and I've run at like sunrise, I've run at sunset, and you know, you're just like, this is absolutely incredible. And now I get to do it with like friends and experience this.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's so nice. So I definitely feel like that's partly why I run as well, is because it's
to help you. I definitely do suggest that some of my clients where they're like looking to meet new people and they don't know how, I'll be like, is there any exercise clubs or like running clubs you could potentially join? But I think the tricky thing is, like Sydney, we're so spoiled with all that kind of thing, and a lot of people I speak to are from more regional areas. So it definitely sometimes there isn't a solution, but whether it be, you know, you form your own strategies to try a little bit harder at work to make connections, or like put yourself out there and be like, want to get want to go for a walk, or like get an ice cream if you don't drink, or like get a drink, or get dinner, or like just put yourself out there a bit and just say to someone like, want to hang out.
Yeah, I think there are things that you can do. You've just got to be willing to like look and explore.
Yeah, be like outside of the box a bit more.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
and put yourself out there.
Yeah, I regularly see like pub quizzes and that kind of thing, like events, if you don't want to go down the social media route. But sometimes even like, you know, I've looked at different clubs or workplaces on social media, seen someone and been like, hey, like I'm really interested in this, that, the other, and you kind of get chatting, and then you end up becoming friends that way. Like I've met and become good friends with people through social media, and that's like, you know, it can be a good thing to kind of go down that route. But I feel like a little bit maybe comes from being comfortable in your own presence as well.
Yeah, I think definitely in order to put yourself out there, you have to accept yourself as a person and be comfortable in your own skin, which is not easy. Like it's not easy to, you know, we all have bad days and we all don't feel that great about ourselves. So sometimes it can be really hard to feel like I want to accept myself. It's something I'm always talking to my clients about, like their relationships with themselves and like working on building a better relationship with ourselves. Because often we're taught, you know, we put so much energy into our other relationships, but like we don't prioritize the relationship that we do have with ourselves, which is the most important one.
Yeah. How do you think like counselling can help with someone's self-image and their like how they see themselves?
Self-image is a tricky one because it's obviously made up of different parts. There's the part which is like how you look physically, and then there's the part about your relationships with other people, and then there's the part about your own personality and feeling confident in that. And I think different people will come to me for different problems, like saying some people have issues with how they look in the mirror, they don't like how they look. And I think that's a tricky one, but the good thing to remember is you can change how you look. Like you can exercise more, you can also have a different perspective of, instead of beating yourself up because you don't like how your legs look, you start thinking, oh wow, I'm actually really grateful that I have legs that work and they can do different things for me. Like gratitude is huge for helping, I think, with how you look physically.
Yeah.
Like whether it be just resetting, instead of always picking your body apart, you're thinking, wow, like I'm actually so grateful this part of my body works, or I'm so grateful I have this.
Sometimes I feel like, taking that time to be grateful is so powerful, because that's why I feel grateful to be able to like go and run, because, you know, I'm able to run in some incredible places, and like even, you know, seeing incredible things, or like even being safe. I'm kind of blessed that I'm able to run, and the most of the time I feel safe when I run. Like, don't get me wrong, like I wouldn't run out like really late at night, but at the same time, even when it's dim or dark, you don't feel scared. Yeah, and I can put my headphones in and I don't worry that I'm suddenly, but you know, in certain places people don't have that luxury, and running outside, like especially running alone, can be scary. Yeah. So I think reframing it, and especially coming down to mental images, being like, oh, okay, like committing and being like, okay, I want to change the things that I can change. You got to accept the things that you're like, oh, okay, this is who I am, and I'm learning to accept that, but I'm grateful that I can change these things. Like,
exactly. And it's a big journey, especially if you've grown up like hating yourself and just having like being really negative all the time, which is way more common than like you would think. Like it's almost more common to be super negative to yourself than be positive.
Do you think there's more pressure in like where we are, especially in like Bondi? Because when I run down Bondi, and it's like, I'm by no means unfit, but I feel unfit when I run through Bondi Beach. It is insane.
No way.
I just feel like everyone there looks
so
like there's
fit.
some like Greek god. It's like everyone there is just, no one's got an ounce of fat on them. Everyone is just like perfect looking. It's insane. There's something about Bondi that is just,
I do get that. I mean, I'm not a runner, so I probably
But even going to the beach there, surely like.
Yeah, no, I think the thing that I have really been training my brain in lately, and I've been trying to think about it more and more, is like the parts of me that I don't like, whether it be like parts of my body or parts of in the past that I don't like, learning to be like, you know what, the parts that you don't like imperfections or whatever, they're like great, cool things about you.
Yeah, they're little quirks. They're yours.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that's something that I've tried to, I guess, like drum into my head, because at the end of the day, like it doesn't, like, I think it's beautiful to appreciate everyone, how they look, but comparing yourself is just, it's not beneficial. We all compare ourselves way too much to other people. So it's like, instead of putting all this time and energy into effort into thinking, oh, they look amazing when they're running, and like, for sure, appreciate it, be like, oh, they look great. But like, spend more time just being like, I'm happy with who I am. I'm special. There's no one else like me. And if I spend all my energy comparing myself to other people, I'm never going to be happy.
No.
Because there's always going to be someone prettier than you and smarter than you and fitter than you. Like, you're never going to win that competition. Yeah. So you need to...
Why even compare?
Yeah, like, just be happy for you and what you got.
Yeah. How do you kind of teach that to clients? Like, obviously you can say, like, be happy with what you got, but it's always a difficult one. How does that start with the kind of...
I think it's like doing a lot around what they like about themselves.
Yeah.
And like what makes them unique. And I guess like making sure they're doing things that make them feel good, whether it be like exercising or like walking or like listening to music, and like building those kind of foundations.
Yeah.
And then from there, like on top of that, doing gratitude. And I think just like selecting the thoughts they have. So like if they're having a thought in their head, like, oh, that person's way better looking than me, it's like just saying to themselves, like, you know, I just had this thought where I'm comparing myself. Is this going to be like a valuable thing that's going to make me a better person? Like, no, like instead let's focus on, for sure you can appreciate someone else, but focus more on, oh, this is something that's good about me, or this is something I'm focusing on today. Like, just to be mindful that a lot of the thoughts we have are not necessarily helpful thoughts. So we don't have to pay attention to all of them.
Yeah, that makes sense. Just because you think something doesn't mean it's true.
No, like thoughts do not equal facts. Period.
Thoughts do not equal facts. I like that.
That's a big one. I've had to tell myself that a lot in my life. Because like, everyone has crazy thoughts.
Everyone has crazy thoughts. And I feel like that's where like positive self-talk comes into it. I feel like if you tell yourself something, especially if you say it aloud, it is powerful. I've heard that, like, if you keep saying like, oh, I'm this or I'm that, or you constantly talk negatively about yourself, it's like your mind listens and it becomes self-deprecating. Whereas if you keep
100%.
saying like
I'm capable.
Yeah, if you keep using things like,
you don't have to be like, I'm perfect.
Yeah, and you don't have to like, it's not.
Or like, I'm super hot. Like, you don't need to do that. Yeah. It's more just like, I'm capable. Like, I'm grateful that my body works so I can do X, Y, Z. Like, I'm good enough as I am. I think that's a big one. Like, just accepting that you're enough. You don't need to be like super fit or like change your nose or change your hair or like change everything to be like good enough. Like, you are good enough as you are.
And I think I like the idea of like, not necessarily mantras, but like manifesting. Like, it's so confident, you know, just to be like, oh, I love you for who you are. And like, to tell yourself that, or to say that in the mirror, like, that is so powerful. And I'm not saying everyone should start like chanting that they're great looking and they're confident and all this in the mirror, but sometimes like a little bit of that goes a long way. Just to be like, yeah, I love you for who you are. Like,
just like back yourself.
You've been doing a lot recently, like.
We're so used to everyone like tearing each other down, whether it be like banter or like just like always thinking it without saying it. And then you get low self-esteem, low confidence. You're like, why can't I do anything I actually want to do? Because the issue with having low confidence and low self-esteem is like, then you just stop trying new things. You stop putting yourself out there because you don't have the confidence to do that. And then you end up feeling really flat and bored with life. Like, why is my life so shit? Like, why am I feeling like this? And it's all connected to how you treat yourself.
I feel like it is crazy when it's like, it's all in your head.
So much is in your head.
How you act is all down to how you perceive yourself, which if you perceive yourself like in a negative way, it also means you can, and that's with your help, reframe it and start seeing it in a positive way.
Yeah.
Like, do you know what I mean? It's all in your head. How you act, it's like, it's all due to your...
And what you think you can accomplish and what you think you can do in life. Like
your limits are placed on by you.
So many people I speak to, they're like, I'm this age, like I'm in this job, like it's too late. I'm like, oh my God, you're so young. Like, it's time to think about a new thing you want to do. It's you don't have to feel stuck in what you're currently doing. It's okay. You can do something new. And that's you. You're doing something new.
I am doing something new. I'm pushing the boat out there, and that's something I've had to like.
You're pushing the boat out there.
I've
never heard that expression before.
I'm pushing
taking
the boat
me
out.
back.
Pushing the boat out. Because I've realised this was a piece of advice that Sam gave me, who's my good friend and PT in Bondi, he said to me at the end of an interview, it was like, everyone is so caught up in themselves, but they really don't care about you. In a way of like, if you put a bit of content out there and maybe it doesn't look the best, no one really cares.
It's not that deep.
It's really, really not that deep.
Yeah.
But not trying is so much worse than potentially trying and potentially people seeing you in a bad way. Like, no one cares. Just do it and stop like kind of talking bad about yourself, which is why I'm like posting more and doing these things, because I'm worried about like,
what's people thinking about me?
What are people thinking of me? Like,
are they judging me?
Yeah, like, what am I going to say in this interview? What am I going to like, what videos am I going to produce? And it's like, that can so easily hold you back from doing anything or even starting. And I just think sometimes you just go, no one really cares. I'm going to start anyway. And the worst thing that will happen is... Exactly. The worst thing that will happen is like, maybe it didn't go well, but at least I'll learn. I'll learn so much more than if I didn't do anything. I didn't start.
That's a very wise quote. An attitude.
Very good.
Quote from Sam.
These are good to have.
First question for you. What do you think about mental health?
What do I think about mental health?
Yeah, what do you think about it? Do you think it's like a lot of people experience it? Do you think it's complicated? What do you think about it?
I think it is complicated. I think we're all such intelligent and diverse creatures, and I think that mental health is part of your chakra, your energy. And I think you have physical energy, and I think you have mental energy, and I think you also have a soul as well. Like, I believe like in doing things that like either heal or like are good for the soul. But I believe like we're multi-faceted and we're like a conduit of just our energy. So mental health for me is like a big part of how not only we perceive ourselves, but how we perceive others. And it's like, you can be great physically and you can have an absolutely great physique and be super, super fit. But if you're dealing with something in this part of your life, like in your mental stage, it can have such a damaging effect. And when you see like how high suicide rates are, you realize how common it is.
So sad.
Yeah, and it's like your headspace is where you spend all of your waking and even sleeping hours. Do you know what I mean? So if you've got problems and if you have kind of things that you haven't dealt with and you've got to spend all day like in your own head,
you can't. It's pretty hard to escape. And I mean, that's why people turn to like drugs and alcohol, whatever. Yeah, like it's their way to get out of their head for a little bit. And then you got to go back in. Then you return back, hey.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like that's why it's so important to do things which are good for your mental health. And whether that's, like if you want to be fit, you'd probably be like, okay, I'm gonna work on that. Like, I'm gonna get a plan. You don't just kind of go to the gym once and then go, like I'm better now. Like, same with your mental health.
It takes, I totally agree with that.
It is a journey.
It's like a metaphor for like therapy. Like, therapy isn't gonna work the first time you go. It takes takes a lot of time to change the way you're thinking and the way you're feeling.
But I think it's a worthwhile investment because it's in you.
For sure. And you're investing in yourself.
Exactly.
By going to therapy.
And I think it's not as attractive as social media presents like physical attractiveness, because after 8 weeks of going to the gym, you see physical results. Do you know what I mean? And it's like it's apparent on you and other people can see it. And sometimes your mental, like, no one else knows what's going on in your head.
No.
And you can,
especially if you're a private person.
Yeah, and especially but you can lie and cheat and be like, I feel absolutely great, but you never know. Do you know what I mean? You never know how someone's really feeling, which works both ways, because I think that as much as it isn't sexy to work on your mental health, like it's difficult to romanticize and paint to people that they should actually do it at the same time, but it's so important.
I think it is sexy to work on your mental health.
Of course you do, but it's like,
I think it is.
You can't I think it's not attractive to put on social media. Do you know what I mean?
I get that, yeah. Talking about like struggles that you're going through and that kind of thing, and it's very vulnerable. Whereas like working out, it's like, I'm working out.
Exactly. I'm working out. Look how fit I look. This, that, the other. But you can't be like, look at my headspace. Look how I don't.
Yeah, like I talked about this in therapy today. This is my new realization.
Or like, I never have negative thoughts, or I deal with them really well because I've spent loads of time on that. Like, you never really have that. But I think it is an investment that you need to make.
Yeah.
I feel the earlier you start, the better. and just how, like, if you're getting into fitness or if I'm getting into running or training, I would go and see a personal trainer. The same thing should happen for like mental health, right? Sometimes you can do it alone and that's great, but sometimes it's nice having someone there to help. Someone to like support that journey, right?
And the cool thing is, like with my job, I see the transition of people. Like I have some clients that come to me and they're like in such a worked up state, or there's something really on their mind, and then as we like work together, like they're telling me they're feeling better, and like I mean, sure, they could lie to me, but I feel like there would be no point lying to me and telling me that. So I mean, and I always say, like, just be real with me as possible. I don't care if you're having a good day or a bad day. Like, I just want to know how you are, you know?
Yeah.
No judgment zone.
No judgment zone.
That's my vibe.
Judgment-free space.
Yeah. I should have a sign.
It's the same with physical as well. Like, you wouldn't want to tell your personal trainer that you cheated and ate a pack of Oreos, but like,
you kind of do though, because you're just like, what the heck, like.
Yeah.
I did it.
Yeah.
And we're all human.
Exactly.
That's it. Like, you're not going to be perfect every week. Like, I never expect anyone that I'm working with over a period of time for like their like mental health position to just go up like that. That's not how it works. It's like, oh, 1 week good, something bad happens the other week, or like started having heaps of negative thoughts about myself another week. Like, that's a natural spiral. Or like, even if you're working with addiction, like you might be going really well for a month and then you lapse. Like, that happens. And like learning how to, I guess what I do with my clients is I tell them, you know, it's like, you need to be nice to yourself, but we need to like move forward from this.
Yeah, for sure. It is a gradual journey, and there's going to be ups and downs, and sometimes the ups are really good, sometimes the downs are really bad too, but that's okay, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's all going through that. And same like physically, you wouldn't be like, okay, but I want to be better next week. You'd be like, okay, like, where could I be in like a month's time maybe, or could I be better in a year's time? And you think like, oh, a year's really far away, but actually, like, for how long we're now living, time really flies. And
you may as well just invest in yourself.
Yeah, why not?
If you've always been thinking about therapy, it's like, obviously there's so many blockers to going. Like, this is why I started my business. There's so many blockers to going to therapy. There's the price of it.
Blocker, like, oh, okay.
The blockers is in what's going to stop you from doing it. There's the price. There's feeling scared that someone's going to judge you. There's actual availability, being able to book in.
Yeah.
And that's why I started my business, because it is pretty affordable. I'm a pretty non-judgment person, because I've been through a lot of stuff myself.
Space,
I've been through a lot of things myself, and the biggest thing for me when I used to go to sessions was I was so paranoid that people were judging me. So I just couldn't be my true self, because I was so scared that so every time I have sessions, I'm like, you can't say anything wrong with me. Like, just say what you feel. And what was my third thing? Availability. Sometimes a client will message me and be like, can we do right now? I'm like, yes. Like, sometimes it just happens in this moment, because sometimes that's what you really need.
Yeah.
And I do 30-minute sessions for people who just like really need something in this moment. And we do that. And they're like, that was good.
Yeah. Because sometimes it's like, you just need to speak to someone now, right?
Yeah, like, I'm sorry, I can't wait 2 months.
Yeah.
I can't wait 2 months to get this thing off my chest. Or if I can't speak to them in that moment, usually I can speak to them in the next few days.
Yeah, that is good. I feel like you've kind of knocked down all those blockers, and now it's kind of just like, why aren't you investing in it then?
Why aren't you speaking to me?
Why aren't you coming to me?
My cough, my laryngitis.
Laryngitis.
No, but obviously I'm not going to be a right fit for everybody. I just think if you have always wanted to try it, you don't have a huge budget, you don't mind speaking to a female, come chat to me.
Come chat. Love that. What does a session with Reframed look like?
Ooh, looks like lots of fun.
Love that.
No, I'll be more specific. It looks like, this is a really hard question, because it looks like a lot of different things. Say it's our first session, and I've just met you, and I'm like, hey, Jake, how are you?
You asking me? I'm great.
So first, I obviously would like check in, and usually, do you know what? I do quite a bit of like a chunk of speaking up front, because, well, actually, I suss the vibe of someone if they're like ready to get into it. What's on their mind? Pass the microphone over to them. But say they're a bit reserved and feeling a bit hesitant, I'll do a lot of speaking to begin with, like introducing what I do, why I do it, the kinds of things I work with people on, like the different types of therapy I use. Like I'll go through all that and then I'll pass it over to them. But obviously a big part of the first session is going to be building rapport, like making sure they feel comfortable, getting them to have an opportunity to talk about what's been on their mind or things they can't talk about with anyone else. And I think from there we build a bit of a plan. For example, I want to work on my confidence and okay, this is the goals we're going to set for this week and we'll come back and we'll assess them. Or I want to stop speaking so negatively to myself. Okay, this is what we're going to do. And then so honestly it's so individualized, but it's just really working with what they want, getting things off their chest and building up a plan so that they can feel better and just enjoy their life more. That's the goal. That's the goal.
Do you think how do you think someone can tell the difference between what's a normal level of stress and what is a level of stress where they should actually seek help?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think or anxiety stress, I think they're quite interchangeable. It's a normal part of life. Things like running late for a meeting or spilling your coffee all over you, like that's going to cause stress. There's no doubt about it. If you're having stress that is every single day and it's impacting your ability to sleep, it's impacting your ability to feel good, it's impacting your ability to form relationships, it's impacting your ability to work, that is a good time to potentially speak to someone because it shouldn't really be doing that. But it does. Like it probably does more often than not.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what I would say.
That makes sense. I think it does have a big impact and sometimes more than you initially think. You always just kind of like, it'll get better. Right.
Yeah, but then sometimes it gets worse.
Yeah.
And then you're like, ooh, need to speak to someone.
Yeah, sometimes seek help early. What do you think, like, the future looks like for healthcare and mental health? Like, do you think it's, like, constantly evolving?
I feel like the rate at which people need support and the response to that are not equal.
Okay.
I mean, the amount of conversations I've had with people telling me about more and more people who have always wanted to get support but they can't afford it or they don't know who to contact or all those things. Like it is not super easy to access. It's not impossible to access, but I think there are, especially price.
Yeah.
Price is a really big one, I think. Because especially with how much everything is costing.
Yeah.
And then you put therapy on top of that. It's like, well, I'm not going to pay for therapy because I've already got to pay for my groceries and my rent and my gym membership. Like, I'm not, like therapy's that extra thing I can't afford.
Yeah.
But, like, people should be doing it. It might be the difference between someone feeling great about themselves and feeling awful about themselves.
Yeah. There's a fine line sometimes, like, the day can slip, so you can just spiral. That's why having someone there who you know you can
like
rely
in your
on.
Corner, you can be like, hey, I'm having a really shit day, can we talk? I'm like, yeah, we can talk.
Yeah, that's nice. Like it doesn't have to be like, like I'm in for 2 or 3 a week. Do you know what I mean? Sometimes it's just like
things are just
having someone you can rely on. And be like, can we pick up like
the other?
Yeah,
exactly.
And it's nice to have that as well. I guess that's not always a family member. So that's something that, you know, I've always thought about, you wouldn't really want to burden a close friend or family member, but it's seeing it as not a burden, but I guess having someone external who's not going to judge you and is just out of your, I guess, initial like friend and everyone else's own, it's just easier to chat to, I guess.
Yeah, I think that point you raised just then about people having that mindset of, I don't want to tell people about my problems because I'm going to burden them. It's super common. I've had quite a lot of conversations with clients like that, and if anything, I really want people to take away the fact that if you're trusting someone in your circle with your problems, like, that's not a burden. It's like an honor. If my friend comes to me and tells me their problems, I'm like, I'm honored that you trust me and that I can provide support for you. And it's the same with working as a counselor. I'm honored that people feel comfortable enough around me to like let me in. So people should never feel like they're being a burden by opening up.
Yeah.
And their friends or their family or whoever else in their life wouldn't want them to feel that way either.
No. There's actually a lot of power to it. And I think you're right, like on both sides, opening up to a friend, it's not only good for you to like problem shared, a problem halved, but it's also like for them to know that you trust them as well.
Yeah, like vulnerability is what brings people close together. Everything else, fake. No, it's not fake, but like vulnerability is really important.
It is, yeah. Being honest as well.
Do you think you're honest?
I think I'm very honest. Sometimes too honest, which sucks.
Really?
Yeah.
Why do you think you're too honest?
No, I just feel like sometimes I'm a bit of an open book. I think there's something quite attractive about being a little bit mysterious, but sometimes I'm just like...
You are who you are.
You are.
You
But
are.
sometimes I'm just like, okay, probably I shouldn't tell someone that on like the first time I've met them. Like, they're discussing
There's like...
random things.
I'm joking over here. No, it's nice to be an open book.
It is.
I think it's a nice trait about you.
Thanks, I appreciate that. Sometimes, yeah. Sometimes it gets me in some interesting situations.
At the end of the day, like, it's much better to be an open book than to be someone who's so closed that can never share anything.
Get in.
So,
yeah.
You're winning.
I'm winning. What's like one piece of advice that you wish everyone understood about like their well-being and mental health?
Oh my god, there's so many that come to my mind. I think it really, because for me, I have experienced a lot of anxiety and struggle with that. So I think the biggest one would be like, you are not your thoughts. Like the thoughts doesn't equal facts one, because our heads can get so cluttered with negative thinking that stops us from applying for jobs, it stops us from moving overseas, it stops us from taking risks, it stops us from building relationships, like, or that makes us beat ourselves up every day for something that doesn't even exist, even though that sounds so far-fetched, but that's my brain for you. So I think just thoughts don't equate to facts. You need to be really careful what you feed your brain with, because there's so much negative media, there's so much competition in society, there's so much struggle with so many different things. It puts people in a very negative, distressed headspace, and it feels like so dark that you can't get out. But the reality is, like, you can create your own happiness. Like, you can change. You don't always have to feel like you're stuck in this dark place. Like, you can step out of it.
That was a great piece of advice.
Do you reckon?
I love that. Yeah.
I just made that up on the spot then.
No, but I think it like shows to who you are and everything you've been through and your personal experience with mental health, as well as how other people should approach it as well.
No, I'm gonna get too cheesy. I can't go into that. I was just gonna say, like, it's really hard to see that in the moment. I think I have the benefit of hindsight. Yeah, that's it. Sounds really weird when I said it. Hindsight. I have the benefit of hindsight because I've gone through this like dark period, and then I've come out and I've been like, oh, okay, I have the ability to change that. But I guess if you're stuck in that phase where you're like, I'm in a really dark or not good place, like having someone say to you, like, you're gonna get out of this, like that. Yeah. That is really something helpful, which is what I hopefully do for some people.
You're their guardian angel.
Yes. Yeah. What's your advice? What would be your advice?
Similar to yours, like
you can't copy me. It needs to be your own one.
It needs to be my own one. It's like in school. Yeah, I think invest in yourself. Invest in.
That's a good one.
Like, I think it's like your body and I guess like your soul and your mental health. It's like your own little garden, right? And I just think you got to spend so much time there. You know, it's worthwhile to buy cute ornaments and things like that. In my way of saying, like, in your head, it's worthwhile to go to therapy. It's worthwhile to kind of do those core things that are good for, like,
your brain,
your soul. Like, and to me, that's
running.
Sometimes it's it is running. Running's a big core element, and I think that ties well. But I think like putting yourself out there is a big one as well. Like, it is a journey, and you do have to work on it every day. Do you know what I mean? You can't just water it once and hope it grows. Like, you've got to be there. But for me, like, every time you're able to change so much about not only who you are, but what you want and what you're able to do.
For sure.
You just got to be willing to put the time in. So for me, that's a big one, is the investment of it. I like to set little goals myself and know that I'm like, okay, I'm going to do this, try and do this every day. And it's not always easy. Sometimes
What's
it's
your
hard.
little goal today?
Not today, but like, you know, sometimes it'll be to go up and speak to someone completely new, which is daunting. Like, I'll go into like...
Will that be like when you're doing a run, or will
Yeah,
that
like
be...
if I went to a new run club, or if I went to a new place, or sometimes I'll just like, I try to like say hello to someone in the morning, like, or out on the street and just be like, oh, hi, like...
That's nice.
Yeah, it is nice. And I feel like that should be normal, but I feel like sometimes it isn't.
It can be quite cliquey in Sydney.
It can be. And I feel like that's where, you know, just
People
breaking
don't
down
do that.
barriers. And it's nice to find someone who, when you realise, especially at these groups, it's like a lot of other people are also in the same boat as you, and they're kind of nervous and like this and that. And everyone's been where you are, but they maybe haven't had friends. So it's like, yeah, I like to do that. And I'll maybe go to somewhere new and be like, okay, my goal is like to ask someone how they are. And I've had like some amazing conversations with
So
like,
cool.
different people.
I love that.
In like completely different situations. I never would have had this moment had I not put myself out there.
Yeah.
And been willing to be like, yeah, okay, I'm going to do something hard today. I'm going to do something for me. You know.
Yeah, what happens is we get so comfortable that we kind of stop making ourselves do hard things, and then we start learning and we start growing, and like human beings are made to do hard things.
We're made to do hard things. We're made to socialise. We're meant to be...
We are really meant to socialise.
We're such social creatures.
Like, if you think about how we've evolved from literally being cavemen to like picking up rocks, finding food for our families, like, and now we all just walk around like on our phones, like, and everything's so easy. It's easy to get food. It's easy to get water. Like, that's why we need to keep doing hard things.
Yeah, push yourself.
Because then we become really understimulated and bored with life. Boredom equals unhappiness.
Boredom, I agree. Thank you for listening to the Grassroots Production podcast. If you haven't already, please give us a follow so you don't miss out on listening to any of your favourite inspirational athletes and entrepreneurs all over Sydney. Cheers.